today isn't about any one of these 3 knives from the Echo line. No. Today, we are reviewing this badass ONA knife. Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We've had a bit of a mini-series almost going on where we've been reviewing Quintin Middleton's knives, and today is the last of the knife reviews of the last knife that we have. And that knife is the knife that I currently have in hand, the Made by Middleton ONA knife. This is a very badass knife, and I know that lots of you have been wanting to hear my thoughts about it. And of course, as usual, we'll be doing a food demo followed by my own knife review. All thoughts are my own, it's all my personal opinion, but I can tell you that I've been very excited to test this knife out, and I can't wait to tell you what I do think about it. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Franco Allo, and this channel is all about knife knowledge, reviews, unboxings, and head-to-heads. A quick word about Quintin Middleton. As you know, late October he sent me 4 of his knives. Each one of those knives has a knife review. 3 were from the Echo line. Thank you in advance for all those that entered the knife raffle for charity for the 6-inch Nakiri from the Echo line. And then of course you have the ONA knife. By the way, the winner for the charity knife raffle will be announced a little bit later in this video, so stick around please. Now, Quintin Middleton is an American bladesmith from the USA, more specifically, St. Stephen's, South Carolina. There have been great channels out there that have put together videos about him, and so I will leave a link to those videos in the video description below. So, the ONA knife. What should you know before we dive into the food demo? Essentially, it's a 4 inches long folding knife made out of S35 VN steel, question mark? I believe that's right. If I'm wrong, you know I'll be putting it up here. Essentially, I don't know much about that seal, but I do know 2 of the main properties, which to me made it an attractive folding knife. Stainless steel, high edge resiliency, and we'll talk about what that means a little bit later on. Handle is made out of titanium, and otherwise keep the general knife fairly light. So what do you say we just dive into the food demo, and then we'll come back and I'll share my thoughts. So, what did you think of the food demo? Do you think this blade is capable? Now, to properly describe how I feel about this knife, a little bit like I said during the chef's knife review, this blade specifically was designed with a very specific purpose. It is a folding knife. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have seen a folding kitchen knife. I mean, sure, I have my Takeda Higo that I use as a kitchen knife when I'm out camping. But this is 4 inches of blade. It has the same belly depth as both the Nakiri and the chef knife from his Ecoline. And I say the same. I think they differ by about 0.5 millimeters. So it has a very deep belly. Now it's of a different steel. The Ecoline was ABL. This is S35VN, a stainless steel, a steel that has great edge resiliency. And the reason that's important is because let's remember, he designed this knife to be, at least it's my assumption from our conversation, that this is the one knife that you take with you outdoors. And so if I were to go camping and I take the ONA with me, it's the only knife that I should need, which means it needs to be able to do 2 things properly. And this is why I think it's a great steel choice that he's chosen. It needs to be easy maintenance, right? There are many times where I leave my knives when I go camping in their knife roll, and even a little bit of humidity overnight in the car, in the tent, doesn't matter where you put that bag, can lead to rust. Stainless steel is super important for an outdoor knife. Check. Second, when you're outdoors, sure, maybe you can bring your whetstones with you, but it's ideal to have a knife that will have great edge resiliency. That means maybe you thawed some chicken Friday night for Saturday night tacos. You're camping. It was a bit cooler overnight. It was a bit cooler during the day. That chicken isn't completely thawed. Are you not going to eat it? No, you're camping. Food is limited. And so you're looking for a knife that, hey, I'm not going to condone it. I'm not going to encourage it. But if you got to cut through your frozen chicken breast, slightly frozen, hopefully it's slightly frozen, not completely frozen. If it's fully frozen, use an axe. Who cares about nice knife cuts? But anyhow, point is, if it is thawed, but still kind of frozen-ish, I would expect that the knife that I use will not be brittle and chip, because then that's going to create a whole slew of new problems for the days to come. Now I talk about camping. This could also be the kind of knife that you put in your backpack, because it is small when folded, and take with you backcountry camping, or just mountain hiking. It doesn't matter. Point is, I think that's why he designed it this way. And so some of the features that make it desirable, again, are the fact that it is stainless, are the fact that it does have great edge resiliency. How well can you put an edge on this? I actually have no idea, so I can't comment on that. I did not try to put an edge on it while I used it, but at least I know that it's stainless, and I know that it has great edge resiliency. Because it's so short, it still makes for a pretty big folding knife once folded, right? Now, though it has a pocket clip, I'll be honest, I don't think that I would clip this to my pocket. Nothing beats a sheet. The only thing I might consider clipping this to, and I will say, it feels very sturdy, it feels very tight, so I might clip it to the inside of my bag. So the pocket clip, you know, if I had to give a suggestion, I'd say maybe lose it. I'm not sure if it's completely necessary, but it is a very sleek design. What I also like about the ONA knife, and you'll see this on his website, is he does offer it in a few different handle patterns. Call this your gray on gray model. In a way, it's just super sleek, super simple, almost inoffensive despite the large blade that it hides once you fold it open. It's very easy, I find, to close with, I'm not sure what this mechanism is called for those outdoor enthusiasts out there, and I mean, I am one myself, but I just don't know what this is called, but this type of release mechanism I really enjoy. Now, as for the hole in the top of the blade, again, same thing. When it's closed, right, it can easily be opened. And so I'm not sure if the intent here was just to lose weight, so to speak, on the blade, or if it's to clip to something. So maybe Quintin himself can tell me. It doesn't add anything to the functionality of the knife. I do like the look, but if it serves for anything else other than being aesthetic, then I have no idea. Otherwise, it feels great in hand. Despite it being a large blade, you know, balance point is pretty much, he's been pretty much bang on, if you ask me, about balance point with all his knives. Regardless of how they perform, I do like the balance points of his knives because they typically tend to be where you would grab it. And here it's right in that finger notch once you pop open the blade. As you saw in the food demo, I did hold this many different ways. I tried to pinch grip it. Never felt too comfortable when I was choking up on something, like maybe if I was pairing. using it to pair something, I think it would be great. But otherwise, despite how I typically handle and hold knives, this was the most comfortable method of use. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the food demo. I'll be honest, I was impressed. I didn't expect it to cut as many ingredients or a range of ingredients as I did so well. For something like the carrot, if you'll notice, I kind of slow-moed it, and I even paused a second during the video because of that aggressive sound. I wasn't sure if I had like wedged it completely, and so I took a look at both sides of the carrot that had just been sliced open, and I think what mainly happened is because it is quite thick at the spine, and it is quite deep, and it is quite heavy, it sounded like I split it, but in reality, I just cut through it very quickly with a lot of weight and force behind it. Because if it was thick on the primary bevel, then I don't believe it would have cut the mushrooms as well as it did. Same thing with the cabbage. I was actually surprised at what ease I was able to slice the cabbage. Same thing with the salami. Those slices were fairly thin. On the tomato, it's what I expected. Same thing with the Ecoline knives. I'd like a little bit more bite. Not everyone cuts cherry tomatoes like I do. But again, that's something that maybe the user, myself, anyone else who purchases this knife can put a bitier edge. Again, not sure though with this type of steel how easy it is to put a new edge on it. But again, most important for an outdoor knife is going to be stainless steel and edge resiliency. And so basically, in a nutshell, I did find that it reacted very well to the slew of ingredients that I threw its way. It was very enjoyable to hold. I don't know that there was ever a second that I didn't feel badass holding a super large knife like this, and just something that's really distinct and unique. Again, if you've seen a kitchen knife smith out there, a blacksmith that makes kitchen knives out there that has something similar, please let me know. But for me personally, it's the first time I've seen a folding knife like this. Now for me, would it replace what I typically bring camping? Probably not, because I do a little bit of glamping, right? I bring my really nice West Japan Tools knife roll, and I do bring stainless steel. The knives that I choose, edge resiliency is probably not comparable to this. They're still quite delicate. I bring my Yoshimi Kato Chakabocho and my Kotetsu Type 2 150mm petty, so I need to be careful. If the chicken was frozen, like the example I gave earlier, I would not be cutting into it with my Kotetsu or Chakabocho. This is something I'd feel a lot more comfortable carrying around for those occasions. And so I do think that in terms of if Quintin's goal was to create one knife that you can bring with you camping, whether it's glamping, backcountry camping, and can do just about anything. Even the length is there, right? It can do something small like the garlic, the itty bitty garlic that I cut, or it can do something much larger like the Taiwanese cabbage that I cut. And so props on creating something truly unique, almost niche, so niche that I can't really compare it against anything. You know, if I want to compare it against his own paring knife, look at the difference, right? This is the same length knife, but the profile is what makes it not only unique, but be able to be used in a different way. This is a paring knife. This is now an outdoor do-it-all type knife. I hope you guys enjoyed that food demo. I definitely encourage you to check this one out if you want something super unique and different in your kitchen, both indoors and outdoors. I think the ONA could be a great knife. It of course has a bit of a different price point than the Ecoline knives, and I think that's mainly because titanium's not cheap, and I'm sure that the manufacturing of these is going to be more specific than his paring, chef's knife, and Nikiri. Again, not too sure what the hole here is for. I'm hoping maybe he'll tell me. I could have asked him, but again, I'd like my reviews to be unbiased, and so I'm just telling you what I think. I do love the look of it. The clip I wouldn't use. Alright, so before we dive in any further into this knife review, what do you guys say? I think it's time for the knife raffle winner. I want to thank everyone who participated, whether you bought one ticket or two. I can tell you that I am proud to say that I will be donating $200 Canadian, which is the totality of the amount raised to the Canadian Breast Cancer Network. So thanks again to everyone who entered. Now let's see who the winner is. So of course, when I do these knife raffles, I'm not sure why. Actually, I do know why. I want to be transparent, and I overcomplicate my life by not just randomizing one variable, but two. So what I did here is, of course, I took a look at how many entries there were, and then I randomized a number from 1 to 9 3 times. I picked that number, and then I added another randomization element, which was randomizing a number between 0 and 1 3 times, and then sorting the rows in ascending order. And that way, in combining both the first randomized variable and the second, I was able to choose the winner. And the winner of this knife raffle of the 6-inch Nakiri from the Echo line from Quintin Middleton is Michael J. Whittle. And so it seems like, because I did say I'm going to pay shipping wherever the winner is in the world, it sounds like this knife is going to the UK. So enjoy, Michael. Thank you so much for participating, Michael and everyone else. Now for the knife review, because I know exactly what I'm saying after this segment, there are a few things I forgot to mention. I thought that the ONA performed very well when it came to chicken butchery. It's not very often that you'll take a knife that does well in chicken butchery and it will also do well, say, on a mushroom. And so I thought in that instance, it actually dealt very well. Something that I probably forgot to mention or should have mentioned more often in the past knife reviews for the Quintin Middleton knives is that I really do appreciate his simple packaging. Packaging doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to cost the maker a whole lot of money. Is unboxing some very nice luxurious packaging, does that add to the experience? I'll be honest, absolutely. But is it necessary? Absolutely not. So long as the product held within that packaging is of a great integrity. And I like Quintin Middleton's knives for one main element, and that is their ease of use. They are super user-friendly. Yes, I can't tell you how many times you all know I'm big into Japanese kitchen knives, and I'm all about those razor-thin cuts. But the downside to that is I'm always worried I'm going to chip a knife for the most part. So many of my blades are ultra-thin on their primary bevel, on the cutting edge. And I'm almost always worried if I nick the olive container by mistake, if I come down at the wrong angle on a cutting board. Quintin's knives are built to last. They have super resilient edge. Even the way the handle is built with dyed birch veneers, that stuff is almost indestructible like micarta in some aspect. And so I love that his knives are resilient. And now let's get back to the rest of the knife review. Oh, and last thing, if I had one more suggestion for Quintin Middleton. Now, this knife is so unique, but if you're anything like me and you try to keep things clean, anyone see, not a problem, but anyone see something that, for someone who likes to keep things clean, could potentially be irritating, it's going to be that slit, right? Right there. I think it would be cool, and Quintin would probably be the first to do this, and of course it would increase the cost of production, if he included a little tool, like a little two-sided brush that he could just push in between the slit to clean it, because this has only been in my kitchen and I can already tell you that it's dusty. It's not pretty dusty, but enough that if I wanted to clean it, I'd probably grab maybe just one of my kitchen towels. So it's not a big deal, but it would be cool if you had a Quintin Middleton two-sided brush to clean it. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. See you next time, and I promise, I know we've done roughly 5 weeks of American-made knives. We'll be going back to the Japanese kitchen knives with the next video. And until next time, stay sharp.